Hi, it's Asma, and this is From Different Perspective, the podcast where I talk about things I can't get out of my head. In today's episode, it's such a not very titled and not very organized episode, if I could say, but really, this episode has a really dear place to my heart because I really want to talk about a lot of things which have basically kind of related in some shape and form, but they have the same concept and they have the same meaning, but there's different examples and different way and forms of telling them. So I'm sorry if this is an inconvenience to whoever is out there listening to this episode. And I'm actually really sorry for uploading this episode this late because I've been pretty busy this week, but I'll make sure to organize my schedule all over again to upload on time again. And let's get started. This morning I have been reading Surah Al-Imran, and I've come to this ayah where I felt like it was very, very, very related to the topic that we're going to talk about today. But before we start, I want to tell you guys that this episode is very, very mini episode, and it's one of the shortest episodes that I'm going to make in this podcast so far, because I'm pretty busy lately, and I'm literally gonna study right after this episode, so I want to make time for my school and everything. But back to what we were talking about the ayah. The ayah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, لا يتخذ المؤمنين الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين ومن يفعل ذلك فليس من الله من شيء إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقى ويحذركم الله نفسه وإلى الله المصير. The ayah says, do not let believers take disbelievers as allies rather than believers, and whoever of you does that has nothing with Allah except when taking precaution against them and prudence. And Allah warns you of Himself, and to Allah is the final destination. You see, this is not really directly is related to what I want to talk about, which is how the American and the Europe culture have manipulated our minds for so many years that we believed, actually believed that there is nothing better in this world than the American and the Europe culture and language. So if y'all remember, a couple of episodes ago we talked about the English language and how does it affect our daily usage for the language, and how does it become a globally used language. And David Crystal, who have profoundly talked about and researched about English as a global language, he said that the power, the language on itself comes from the power of the people who speak it. And I believe that I've added that part to the episode specifically. But really, at this point, the English language is not the only thing that gives power to the British and the American Empire at this. Currently, they have more power than anything in this world. Obviously not more than Allah, but I mean, the way that they have hold on us, the Middle Eastern, the African people, the Asian people, America and British and Britain and Europe have basically colonized the whole entire planet. There is no country on this earth that the Europe and the American and the Britain Empire haven't colonized already. And now today we are seeing another colonizing, another catastrophe happening today in Gaza, and we're silent about it. And the America is funding this genocide that is happening in Gaza right now, and how we are so very, very not interested in supporting them. It's been already almost 40 days since 7th of October, since everything have started. And now a lot of people are losing hope, and a lot of people have already stopped posting about Gaza and already getting used in that and getting like back to their usual and daily routine, and people are being killed and bombed and tortured and beheaded in Gaza every single day. I mean, you see, it's pretty complicated and it's pretty difficult, but as you know me, if you have listened to, I believe, the second episode of this podcast, I think it's called You're an Outsider, if I'm not wrong. That episode I've talked pretty much about my background and everything about my life, and how much I've gotten cultured, mixed cultured in my life, and how I've become multilingual in a really young age. And I'm not really proud, like, I'm not saying this as a way to, compliment myself, but I was talking about the difficulties in being mixed cultured and how does it affect how does it affect in my childhood at that time. But if you haven't listened to the episode, feel free to listen to it after this episode. But just to let you know that I was born in Saudi Arabia and I grew up in Saudi Arabia, and at the age of 9 I became Somali. So that means that I speak two languages, Arabic and Somali, right? Because my origins are Somali, and I grew up in Saudi Arabia, which makes me speak Arabic at the same time. But really, somehow when I came to Somali at the age of 9, I've somehow gotten really, really invested in the American or in the Britain and the Europe culture, and specifically the English language. I can't really recall and I can't really tell you exactly how that I've gotten invested in this type of culture, and how I've become not very fluent obviously, but pretty much capable of speaking in English the same way that I do right now. But I can't really tell and I can't really recall. It somehow happened in a very fast process. I realized that I speak English and I'm very fluent in English, and I'm very invested in this culture and everything I watch and everything I listen to, and my entire personality have become American and English and British and blah 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 and etc. And now what's happening in Gaza have literally just opened my eyes, have reminded me that those people are disbelievers. That's first. Second, you are Muslim. And third, you should be way too prouder and way too invested in your own culture and the Islamic culture more than I'm being invested in the American and the Britain and the Europe culture, the disbelievers culture, if we say it in another way. But honestly, I feel like it's way more reminder to us that we don't forget Allah, that this world have become like there's a lot of people committing sins, whether they're believers or disbelievers, and that what's happening in Gaza is a reminder to us from Allah to go back to Allah. And I've been trying to do so, and I since I've started this podcast in a while, like 2 months ago and 3 or 5 months ago, I've been trying hard to stop listening to music, to stop watching movies. I'm not really that interested in movies anyways, but I've tried so many times to cut off a lot of sins and a lot of misdeeds that I used to do naturally. Usually they've become a part of my routine, and how much I've become very, very like normalizing those stuff, normalizing sins, because of the way that the American and the Europe and the Britain propaganda are showing us how cool and how awesome their lives could be if you're not disbeliever. Islamophobia, one of the terms that you've been heard, like you did heard a lot of times if you're a Muslim, if you're not, but it comes to show more and more since what's happening in Gaza have started, and a lot of people saying that what's happening in Gaza and what the people in Gaza are suffering from, they deserve it because they started the war in 7th of October, but nobody is going back to what's before the 7th of October, to the 48, to the Nakba, to the Naksa, to what's happened in 2003, 2008, 2011, and nobody is giving attention to the actual roots of the problem. And that's one of the American and the Europe cultural propaganda of showing, of hiding the truth from other people, from the disbelievers, from their people, basically the Europe and American and people, the British people. They hide the truth from them. The war that happened in Iraq, democracy? Like, I don't really think so. What's happening in Palestine, what happened in Syria, all of these are just few little examples of what the American culture have been doing to us. Now you see a lot of Muslim girls are now not wearing hijab, are way, like, I don't want to get into the niyat of the nas, astaghfirullah, but really a lot of Muslims are nowadays acting as if they're not Muslims, they're acting as if they're disbelievers, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying how we are normalizing those sins in our daily lives. What's happening in Gaza, it's not obviously happening for no reason. It is happening for a reason, okay? And Allah in Surah Al-Isra says, وَقَضَيْنَا إِلَى بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ فِي الْكِتَابِ لَتُفْسِدَنَّ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَّتَيْنِ وَلَتَعْلُنَّ عُلُوًّا كَبِيرًا. And it says, and we conveyed to the children of Israel in the scripture that you will surely cause corruption on the earth twice, and you will surely reach a degree of great highness. And also Allah in the same surah, Surah Al-Isra, says, and بعثنا عليكم عبادا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعد الله مفعولا, and so on and so on. The first pages of Surah Al-Isra talks about Israel and Bayt al-Maqdis and so on and so on. And there's another ayah also in Surah Al-Isra says, لَتَدْخُلَنَّ الْمَسْجِدَ كَمَا دَخَلْتُمُوهُ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ, and you're going to enter the mosque in the Al-Qudus, the mosque, كما دخلتموه أول مرة, as if you have entered it for the first time. And I mean, a lot of people are getting really annoyed about me talking about Gaza and Palestine for straight 3 episodes, but I'm not really annoyed about it. If you feel annoyed about it, then you should check out your mentality and humanity. If you're getting annoyed about talking and standing up for people who are literally facing a literal genocide for 24/7 every single day for 14 straight days, then you should consider getting a therapy, and you should consider, checking out for yourself and everything. But really, we're getting used to it, and that's what we should not do at all. We should not get used to it. I myself are, when I went into whatever and whoever and whenever, whatever social media app or platform, the first thing that comes to my face is children and women and elderly people being killed and screaming and rebels, and it affected me, obviously, mentally, physically, in every shape or form. It affected me, and the only thing that I've been thinking about for the past 40 days is Gaza and Palestine. I wake up to them, I sleep to them, I eat, and I feel so guilty for doing little basic things in my daily life, and I feel like, how am I able to deserve to be fed, to be under a roof, to wake up in peace and sleep in peace, and I go to school and get educated and come back home and everything, but those people are not having the same luxury that I'm having. Hence they're being bombed and being attacked for just doing literally everything and anything. Back to our topic. I'm literally getting out of topic a lot, but back to our topic, the mind manipulation game that the American and the Europe and the Britain culture and empire are literally just playing on our minds is huge, insane, and wild, like really wild. And how much we're like, we grew up to it, okay? We grew up to it. We lived on it, as if, our generation, the 2000 generation, we study about it in history, okay? We, since we were out of our mother's womb, the first thing that we hear is America, America, America. And it feels like this really huge, insane thing that, oh my God, I really, really want to discover this really amazing thing that everybody's talking about. That's how I was thinking back then when I was 9 years old, when I was being when I was facing the when I was like basically learning about the American culture and everything. Everybody has to learn English to some degree to be capable of living outside in whatever country. Like literally, if you're living in Switzerland and you're talking in French, I don't know, I'm real sorry, does people in Switzerland talk French? I believe they're talking French. But if you literally live in Switzerland and people talk there in French, if you don't know French, you should at least speak in English. Again, as David Crystal said, the language on itself becomes popular and known because of the power that the people that speaking of the language has. And at this point, again, as I just said, it's not about the language anymore. We adapted every single thing that the disbelievers, the American, Europe, Britain culture that are doing into our daily lives, where we're thinking it's like we're proud about it. It's our pride, okay? We listen to music because they listen to music. We dance because they dance. We literally get naked and wear inappropriate clothes because they wear inappropriate clothes. And we listen to their music and we eat their food. And whatever they do, we do. Because they're the amazing, wholesome, cool, very big American and British empire. I mean, how dare we avoid and ignore them? Because once the Arab people were in this place, 100,000 years ago, in العصر العباسي, العصر الأموي, الخلفاء الراشدون, in عصر الرسول on itself, back to the عصر العباسي, Baghdad was the center of knowledge at that time. Baghdad at that time was basically way more cooler than the America as if it's right now and today. I really have a lot of things to talk about. I feel like I'm not giving it the ride that it deserves, and I'm not talking about it as proper as I wanted to talk about. But honestly, it's affecting me, and I know it's affecting a lot of other people, and I feel very guilty to talk about. I will feel really guilty if I dared to talk about anything besides Gaza and Palestine for the past and for the upcoming episodes. So I will make sure to not talk about the same exact episode, today, the same exact topic all over again, obviously, but I will try to, add and somehow talk about them in each single episode, because that's the least that I and other people can do. Talking about them. Because maybe one person on this planet, at least one human being will see this episode and will hear this episode, and this person will consider everything, and they will make their own research and stand up for Palestine. And remember, this dunya is dar ibtila, dar ikhtibar. We have nothing. We as Muslims, we have nothing to do in this earth. Oh, it's the call for al-Isha, but I'm going to end this episode here. But as I was saying, we as Muslims, we have absolutely nothing to do in this world. Okay, we shouldn't be living in luxury and everything, but the only thing that you are here is to worship Allah and in however shape and form that Allah have told us in the Quran and the Ahadith and everything. So pray, make dua, fast, sadaqah, zakah, read Quran and whatsoever, because that's why we are here. And always remember, this earth is dar ibtila and dar ikhtibar, and we are only here to be tested so we can get what we deserve. And lastly, but not least, this thing this whole thing that some people call conflict, and some people call genocide, and some people called ethnic cleansing, and some people called colonization and whatsoever, is happening for a reason. Call it whatever you want. It's اختبار from Allah, test from God. And the people in Gaza are not dying for waste. I have talked about this, I know, but I'm gonna say it again. They're not dying for waste. They're shuhada. And the shaheed has the luxury, okay, to make shafa'ah for 70 of his own family. This person have died for the sake of Allah and for the sake of the land. So they're not dying for waste. And for the sake of freeing Palestine, and for the sake so that the next generation and the next and the children of ours will be capable and able to see a free Palestine if we weren't able to endure or see a free Palestine. And last but not least, again, Allah says, وَأُوفُوا بِعَهْدِكُمْ أُوفِي بِعَهْدِي وَإِيَّايَ فَارْتَقُونَ. Do your promise, and I will do my promise, and believe in me. What have Allah promised us? Allah have promised us Jannah, جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا. A Jannah, a paradise that under it are rivers that flow. خالدين فيها أبدا. We're being mortal in the Jannah forever. Inshallah, I will make an episode about Jannah. And another reminder to you again, this podcast is not about just talking about and discussing about things that, you know, things are in my mind, but it's basically, it's a form of worship, and I'm taking it as a niyyah that I'm worshiping Allah in this form, because this platform, and I have the internet, and I have the access and to everything to make da'wah for people, for the disbelievers and the believers on themselves, and also for me. First and foremost is for me before other people. So I will inshallah talk about the Jannah, and I will talk about a lot of another topics beside it. And sorry for the short episode, but as you can see, I'm pretty much really busy, and I'm going to inshallah to organize my schedule. And I believe that this episode is the 9th episode of this podcast, and this next week is going to be the 10th episode, and I'm going inshallah to finish, I believe, 3 months of uploading an FTB from different perspective. And I'm really excited to share with you all the news and all the ideas that I've got so far. And here it's the end of the episode, and please stay safe, take care, and I will see you next Monday, inshallah. Bye bye.